I'm attorney Siobhan Olivero, and today we are going to talk about injunctions, and specifically the consequences of having an injunction entered against you. As a lawyer, I often see people facing injunctions or restraining orders that have been filed against them alone in court. Many people think it's not a big deal to go to the court to face these restraining orders, and many of them don't even appear for the hearing. I mean, after all, it's better if both parties don't have contact anyway, right? Well, not necessarily is it a good thing to have an injunction entered against you. While you're there, the judge may even ask, are you in agreement with the injunction? And I hear many people oftentimes say, yes, I'd like to have the injunction entered. And although there are some benefits to having an injunction, like for instance, the injunction does give the judge the ability to give time-sharing or parenting plans in the case, there are also some consequences that go along with having an injunction entered against you that you should be aware of. So what can happen if an injunction is entered against you? Many people don't realize the full range of the consequences that come with an injunction. Some of the main consequences include that the injunction is public record. It cannot be sealed or expunged. It goes in public records and can be viewed on a background check. Employers view background checks, so it could affect future employment. It could have an effect on your family. Injunctions can affect any divorce proceedings, child custody proceedings, alimony, child support. The judge could limit your visitation and time sharing that you have with your children, as well as you could be ordered to leave any shared residence that you have for the duration of the injunction. It affects your right to own and possess a firearm and ammunition. When a temporary injunction is issued against you, you do have to immediately give up all firearms and ammunition that are in your possession to law enforcement. If a final injunction is entered against you after the hearing, then you lose your right to have a firearm or ammunition in your possession during the pending of the final injunction, which could be permanent if the court ultimately orders a permanent injunction against you. This limitation obviously will affect anyone that's involved in any type of military or law enforcement or security or any other jobs where a firearm might be required in your job. The petitioner's power over you in an injunction. A petitioner has significant power over you if an injunction is entered. They can call the police at any time and claim that you violated the injunction. Violating the injunction is a criminal offense, and it could lead to some serious consequences and even your arrest. The respondent, or if you have the injunction entered against you as the respondent, you are ordered to stay away and have no contact with the petitioner. So if you go somewhere and you see the petitioner there, you may want to be there, but you're under a no contact order, so you would have to leave. It could affect employment status. As I mentioned, if you are required to carry a gun for employment, it could affect that, as well as it goes on a background check. So if you are applying for jobs or need to get employment, a final injunction or permanent injunction will be on a background check. It could affect professional licenses that you may need to do your job. It could affect any applications for housing that you may need to get. It could affect admissions to schools, colleges, universities. If you have an immigration status, it could also affect that. Final injunctions are enforceable in all 50 states, so even if you tried to go to another state, it's still enforceable there and still on your record. And finally, there could be criminal consequences that go along with a final injunction being entered against you. As I mentioned, violating any part of the injunction is a criminal charge, and you could be arrested and facing up to 1 year in county jail for violating the injunction. Some other consequences is that the injunction hearing is recorded. So if there is another pending criminal action, for instance, a domestic violence charge pending, anything that you say can be later used against you in that criminal prosecution. And finally, if you do agree to the injunction, that agreement can also be used against you in that other pending criminal action, as just agreeing to the injunction is essentially admitting to the allegations that the petitioner has stated in the injunction. So as you can see, the consequences for agreeing to an injunction are numerous and severe, including possible criminal penalties. So if you or someone you know are facing an injunction that's been filed against them, see an attorney and fight against the injunction. Don't just go to a hearing and ask to have it entered against you. We are here to help you through that. Please contact our office and we can review and evaluate your case and see how we can help you. Thanks.